Good morning. How are you today? I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'll call a higher perspective. We've all lived a very, I'll call it tumultuous human life. We came here at this time and place and wanted to be part of an awakening of humanity, of a planet, a place, a dimension that's been pretty dense for a very long time. And it's a masterclass for a lot of people. It's going through a lot of trauma and pain and suffering and control and a lot of energies that are making more and more dense the experience of being human. All the things that are kind of shrinking us down, and all the controls and all the programmings and all the beliefs that turn us against ourselves. Each and every one of us has, let's call it, defining moments or traumas or things that kind of made us who we are. And you can look at that in two ways. One is, yes, it put us against adversity, and we rose to that adversity and rose above it and became a better person. We can also see that certain events in our life crushed us or overdefined us to the point where we became a victim to an event that happened in our life, to family or friends, or things like divorces or accidents or traumas or getting attacked, etc., that were defining moments for us as well. But in a lot of cases, we couldn't handle it in the moment, and we kind of went inward, or we became trapped by a reoccurring event or a reoccurring theme, and we basically became someone that's divorced, for example, somebody that doesn't have a partner and maybe is affecting kids and these kind of things. We also may have become a victim to rape or violence or other things, and then we walk in a societally conditioned way to be that thing. Hey, this keeps happening to me, so I'm obviously a victim to it, and then we rally around it, and crazy stuff happens. Good morning, Linda. Thank you for joining. I'm sure some of us can identify with that, and it's not a calling out or a shaming people for these things, but it's societally normal to identify as this thing and then stick in this picture, this self-definition of lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, loss of power, etc., and we get kind of stuck there. Now, I'm just saying this not to shame or blame, because I was there. I'm still there in certain ways. But I'm saying these things didn't happen to us to keep us small. Societally, they think they're keeping us small, but it's also a rally point for us. And this is where the higher perspective comes in. When we start to recognize that we're more than just this individual person stuck in a role, stuck in something, and we start to take our higher perspective that we're part of source, we're part of a collective, we're part of a higher energy, and that we're having an experience here in this time, in this place, we can start to see that we've designed this experience not to be a victim or not to fall into these things, but we designed these experiences to have these things that made us go inward and to shrink us and to crush us and to make us feel that victim, give all our power away so that we can eventually feel small. And then a lot of times we just needed that act of hitting bottom. Maybe with it came addiction, maybe with it came some other self-harm things. And we hit bottom, and then we finally got out of our ego. We got out of all the stuff that was going on, and just accepted what is, and accepted that this thing is teaching me. It's teaching me about boundaries. It's teaching me about stuff that was programmed into me when I was small, stuff that's family lineage stuff, etc. And we needed to have a really shocking experience to get out of it, or to start us on the process of getting out of it. If we start to stop identifying that we're a victim, or some harm came to us, or that we need to fix something outside of ourselves, we begin to stop struggling. We start to recognize that these events are not defining us. They're giving us an opportunity to redefine ourselves, to shake ourselves up, to hit bottom, to see something that was buried, and it was so far in our subconscious we couldn't see it. So if we start to just have a higher perspective that there's some form of love in all these things, but a love perspective that we can't see. Can you imagine if there's a part of you that's an infinite being, and let's say that infinite being is looking over you all the time, your higher self, your source self, whatever you want to call it, and that infinite part of yourself loves you so much, it wanted you to come and have an experience, and it wanted you to have these beautiful awakenings of who you are, and building awareness of the deeper levels of yourself, and how you make choices, and how you treated yourself when things got really hard, and how you treated others. It becomes this really deep experience of exploration, of self-discovery. And just imagine that higher self part of you knows all of it before you even come, and it's trying to section you off enough that you don't have all that knowledge, but you have this source of you and this energy of you exploring itself, and exploring density, exploring bad experiences, violence, trauma, all these kind of things, and seeing how you come out the other side, and giving you every opportunity and supporting you at every opportunity to find a better way to rise out of these things. And honestly, I really think that guides aren't so much outside of ourselves, like calling in our angels and our guides. There's higher fractals of ourselves that is actually us and our higher self giving us little nudges and pokes to find the right direction, even though you're completely veiled, you have no idea of your higher self, but there's an essence of you that's exploring possibility. And when we get through these experiences and we find this higher perspective of ourselves, we start to remember that bigger, deeper part of ourselves. And I'm going to tell you, based on my personal experience, that to dig for a why, or to struggle to have a purpose in everything that's happened to me, I had to let it go. There's a point where I have eventually just said, okay, this is happening for my highest good. I don't know why. I'm just accepting it, even though it feels dirty and icky and ugly right now. And it gave me so much peace. It reduced my struggle, and it slowed me down from thinking, like overthinking, protecting myself, having to have meaning in everything. And I just started to accept that thing guided me to higher awareness. And that was the only purpose of it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get repaid afterwards, or, oh, I must have done something wrong in a past life, or there's karma, or these kind of things. And I just started accepting that this was what I had to do to myself to get me to show myself that I'm a good person, that in my heart, I always make the better choice, even though it looks ugly or sometimes at that moment. But I'm always honoring other people. I'm always taking the higher path, even though it might be ugly and messy. I can look at even in my divorce. Yes, I see that, Linda. I feel analyzing the shit out of everything can drive a person nuts, and that's what our brain will do. It'll just keep doing that. But once we get in our heart, the analyzing stops. The just recognition of, holy crap, I'm a good person, even though I got the shit beat out of me. I still choose to honor people and respect them. I'm not stealing people blind. I'm not doing all these things. That's your soul. That's the part of you that is watching and observing and choosing the right choice, even though things aren't working out. There's energies outside of us. We've given our power away. We've done all this kind of stuff. We've allowed darkness to exist and all these things so that we can get to a point where these experiences happen, and they're pretty dense and dark. And what we're doing here is exploring ourselves. We're coming to self-mastery. And if we look through this higher perspective of all these things are teaching us, and all these things are giving us an opportunity to see how we'd react, to see what comes through, what our higher essence is, we can all of a sudden set down the struggle of, oh, I'm a bad person, or these bad things keep happening to me, or why does this happen to me? Which are questions you'll never get answered. You can say it's darkness, you can say it's whatever, but I'll tell you right now, the dark is dark as the light is light. The things that are negative that happen to us have a mission for both people involved. Sometimes the person that's a perpetrator gets one lesson, and the person that's the victim gets another lesson. And when you can transit through it, you can realize why you got in that situation, where your boundaries relax, why you didn't have your power at the time. You can start to take those things back and then just accept that the experience needed to happen so that you could see that and then make a better choice. And once you make a better choice, your life becomes different. Everything changes. The why, yeah, Linda, is hard because we're trying in this human body, in this human perspective, to try and make sense out of something that was only a lesson. And when you get that higher perspective that this is a place of lessons, and you can let go of the energy of it, and something that happened in your past that's part of your story, that always happens, no longer has to be that. In a moment, you can have a choice and say, this happened to help me heal through some of my mother wounds. This helped me move through some of my boundaries. This helped me grow out of a lineage trauma that's been going in my family for years. Once you can go and you can start to let it go in that way, all of a sudden your power comes back. All of a sudden it's not like, oh, this has been happening to me forever. Well, your family might have been happening to you forever, but now you came with the medicine, the power, the new awareness that says, no more, this isn't going to happen. This narcissism, this codependency, this whatever. There's a million different things that we're rising above and rising through. And if we stop trying to get paid back, or we stop struggling to try and understand or be aware or whatever, a freedom comes back, because it's like, okay, this happened for me and my family to close this trauma forever. This happened so that I could have a higher perspective and now never let that happen again, and never let those circumstances happen again. There's a lot of really deep journeys that people are on, and their purpose is to clean up old wounds and stuff that maybe even surpasses your current lifetime. So if we start to look as an energy worker, a fractal of light, a part of God, and start saying, okay, I've dealt with that, I'm done, and then set it aside and say, hey, I'm not going to look at that anymore. That's not going to define me anymore. Then that new higher perspective gives you this freedom, this peace, this not holding on to things anymore. And once you move past holding on to things, the struggle goes away. The why, the frustration, the brain fog, the monkey chatter that goes on in our head, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I solved that. I moved through it, and I'm the medicine for that. I'm the vibration for that. And now magic starts to happen. If we can keep in that perspective, especially right now when we're being asked to forgive and forget and release so much stuff that's stuck in ourselves, the quicker we can get to that let it go perspective, and the quicker to say, holy cow, this shone me up. This crushed me so I could be a diamond. This formed me into light and love. And I could have been ugly and unhappy, or I could have been this fragment of God, this facet of higher awareness. And now I can shine light into it, and then I can speak about it, and I can share that with other people because I had the experience of that thing. And without that experience, I couldn't have happened. So thank you from Australia, Crystalline Diamond Light. So we're now this facet of God that's dealt with it all, and we're shining, and we're just like, people like my smile. They like how my eyes light up. That's because I went and looked into the dregs of everything, and I saw my light. I saw not bad or not failure or not what I mixed up. I just saw, holy crap, I made it through that. That thing should have killed me. That thing was going for so long, and I saw my way through, and I now am the medicine. I'm now the light that will heal it. It goes into the collective. It goes in through my eyes, through my vibration, through your recognition. I plant seeds of possibility by just saying, here's a new perspective. Here's light. Here's love. How do you see it? Let it go. These things are really, really hard. And when it's deeply in our self-definition to say, oh, I forgive this person, or, oh, this doesn't matter, or no, there's no purpose, or no, I don't need to be repaid for it, because the universe is always repaying us, is always balancing everything out, is always working out in our favor. But the minute we start to put goods, bads, judgments of dark and light and all this kind of stuff, all of a sudden we're cutting parts of ourselves off. If my rage is dark, then guess what? I section that off, I put it in a cage, and no longer can I have rage, because somebody might think it's dark or think I'm evil or bad. But my rage is half of my power. I can draw my rage in while I'm happy and excited. And that rage is a full expression of all of light, dark and light. Do you think a yin and a yang cuts itself off because that dark part might be putting shadow on the light part? No. Darkness is a full part of a fully expressed being, as well as light. How you choose to express that, or if you hurt someone, you cause harm, or those kind of things, can create experiences and karma and all this kind of stuff. But it's a part of God. It's a part of being. If you section off anything that's bad, a baby dying, or kids getting sick, or somebody having cancer, or those kind of things, you basically label it all as bad. People that have cancer go into their darkest state. People that have a child die go into a dark state. These are all things that slap us down and encourage us to have an opportunity to rise up. But we all look at it bad, and we feel sorry for it, and we want to carry people when they're going through it. Those people need to feel the darkest dark and the lightest light to be able to learn. And once we learn and we know who we are, then magic starts to come out in all of it. So the higher perspective I'm asking for is to let go of those things that are dark or heavy or from your past that keep you small, keep you a victim, and just let the possibility of better to come. Maybe you've learned now. Maybe you now know past it and there is no more to be learned. Just let it go, end that experience, and then start to be the light, start to talk about it, start to share, because there's hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of other people that have those same darknesses, those same traumas, those same fears, those same uncertainties about themselves, or have defined themselves in that way. And you are a light holder that's found your way through to rise above the crap, to sit and say the things that maybe need to be said so that people can step up. And that's these people that are awakening right now, that are feeling the shit and feeling heavy and feeling all this kind of stuff. Once they find a higher perspective, they can be free. And they're not a victim. They're not being banged up by the world. They're not being banged up by God. They're being loved. And that's where we're at right now. So spend a minute. Look at the thing that's harming you. Look at the thing that's hurting you. Look at the people that are causing all your wounds and pains, and step back and start to see why you brought these into your life. The world is not happening to us. The world is happening for us. And everything that's going on, until we can step past believing that we got to change something outside of ourselves before changing ourselves is just keeping us trapped in a little circle. We're stuck in that little whirling vortex in the bottom of the toilet, and we're not sure how to climb out because it just keeps spinning. Once you step back, take a deep breath, took a higher perspective, and see, holy cow, this reformed me. Holy cow, this is making me think about things. All of a sudden, we have a gift. And that's the gift. Our higher self, our source, our whatever is just gently nudging us to eventually get us to this perspective and this awareness. And I realize it's not easy, and it's going to mean giving up some things that you've been holding on to and you think you need or whatever, but those things only shaped us. They only gave us an opportunity to find ourselves. And to remain stuck to something that's crappy and doesn't feel good is only dragging you to the bottom. But once you hit bottom, then you'll find your way up. So I'm just trying to give a shortcut, maybe help you make that understanding first. But if you don't need it, that's fine too. Because we all find our way. Eventually, our higher selves, our highest parts of ourselves will get us there in whatever way we need. So, what does Linda say? I did not feel it was a dark time when I conquered cancer. This time feels different. Absolutely. Because you got to face the fear of death. You got to face all these scary, dark things about that word and how what it does to your body and the medicines and all this kind of stuff. And you grew from it. You can see it. You got lightness in your eyes. You got awareness. You're prepared. You're not afraid of death, maybe. I don't know what those things are, but you grew. And that was brought to help us grow. And it's amazing. I can see it in you, Linda. So keep shining. All these things are happening to grow us and to expand us and to give us light to carry so we can share with others. I love you all. I hope this helps. And it's not easy. If it triggers you, if it scares you, absolutely. I felt that way. I give up all that stuff and hang on to all that anger and all this kind of stuff. But that's the very thing that's struggling you and destroying us, is to hang on to the past and expectations. So I love you all. You have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.